My wife called me her roommate, so I made it official. The divorce papers I left on her pillow came with a sticky note. Since I'm just your roommate, I figured I should make it official and move out. Thanks for the wake-up call. But let me back up, because what led to that moment will blow your mind. It started when I heard my wife tell her friend something that shattered me completely. But the real kicker? What I discovered she was doing behind my back while treating me like a stranger in my own home. If you're into honest stories about relationships, trust, and betrayal, hit that follow button. You won't want to miss the next one. 3 weeks ago, we were at her friend Madison's birthday party. Nothing fancy, just drinks and dinner at this trendy downtown restaurant. I honestly didn't want to go. These gatherings were always the same. Her friends would gossip. I'd sit there like furniture, occasionally nodding along to conversations I wasn't really part of. But this time was different. This time I heard something that changed everything. The restaurant was packed, and we ended up at this long communal table. I was sitting about 4 seats down from my wife Lisa, close enough to hear her, but far enough that she probably thought I couldn't. I was scrolling through my phone, half listening to the usual chatter about work drama and weekend plans, when Madison asked a question that made my blood freeze. So Lisa, how's married life? You guys have been together, 6 years now? My wife's response came without hesitation. Oh, please, we're basically just roommates at this point. I mean, we live together, split bills, but that's about it. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but it got worse. Honestly, she continued with a laugh, sometimes I forget I'm even married. He does his thing, I do mine. It's like having the world's most boring roommate who happens to share my last name. Her friends all laughed. Madison actually said, well, at least he's a useful roommate, right? I guess, Lisa shrugged. He pays half the mortgage and doesn't leave dishes in the sink. But other than that, she made a gesture like she was brushing off crumbs. Nothing there. I sat frozen, staring at my phone screen but not seeing anything. My wife of 6 years had just reduced our entire marriage to a financial arrangement, and the casual way she said it, like it was just a fact of life, told me this wasn't the first time she'd had this conversation. The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. I barely spoke, barely ate. All I could think about was that word, roommates. When we got home that night, I was quiet. Lisa didn't seem to notice or care. She went through her usual routine. Shower, skincare, phone scrolling in bed, just like a roommate would. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. Sometimes I forget I'm even married. The next morning I decided to test something. Instead of our usual kiss goodbye before work, I just said, see you later, and left. She didn't even look up from her coffee. When I got home that evening, I didn't ask about her day, didn't tell her about mine, just grabbed a beer and sat on the couch. How was work? She asked absently, not looking away from her phone. Fine. That was it. End of conversation. Over the next few days, I started paying attention to how we actually interacted. And you know what I realized? She was right. We were roommates. We hadn't been intimate in months. We barely talked beyond logistics. Who's picking up groceries? When's the cable bill due? Whose turn is it to do laundry? We slept in the same bed, but might as well have been in different time zones. But here's the thing that really got me. I had been trying. For months, I'd been the one initiating conversations, suggesting date nights, attempting to reconnect. Every time she'd brush me off with some excuse or half-hearted response. I thought she was just going through a rough patch. Turns out she was just done with me entirely. A week after the dinner party, I made a discovery that explained everything. I was looking for our insurance papers in her desk when I found something that made my heart stop. Printed emails between her and someone named Ryan from her office. The emails went back 4 months. At first, they seemed innocent enough. Work stuff, friendly banter. But as I kept reading, they got more personal, more flirtatious. Then I found the recent ones. Can't wait for our lunch tomorrow. These hotel meetings are the highlight of my week. Me too. Good thing my roommate husband never asks where I am during the day. Roommate husband. There it was again. I kept reading, my hands shaking. Does he suspect anything? God, no. He's completely clueless. I could probably bring you home for dinner and he wouldn't notice. We're like strangers who happen to live together. Perfect. Makes this so much easier. Exactly. Zero guilt when there's zero connection. I photographed everything and put the papers back exactly where I found them. That evening, I watched Lisa come home from work, give me a distracted hey, and disappear into the bathroom for a long shower. I sat there knowing she'd just spent the afternoon in a hotel room with Ryan, and she was treating me like a piece of furniture. But I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I did something that would change both our lives forever. I started planning my exit. The next day, while she was at work, or wherever she actually was, I called a lawyer. Then I called a realtor. Then I started looking at apartments. See, here's what Lisa didn't know. I'd been promoted 3 months ago. My salary had increased by 40, but I hadn't told her. Why? Because every time I tried to share good news or bad news or any news, she barely reacted. So I'd stopped trying. That salary increase meant I could afford a nice place on my own. It also meant I'd been contributing way more than half to our expenses without her knowing. She was about to find out what life actually cost when you don't have a roommate subsidizing it. I found the perfect apartment across town. 1 bedroom, great location, available immediately. I put down a deposit that same day. Then I went home and started packing, slowly, carefully, so she wouldn't notice. Every day I'd take a box or bag to my car and store it at my new place. Clothes, books, electronics, anything that was actually mine. Lisa was so checked out of our daily life that she didn't notice her roommate was gradually disappearing. The night before I planned to leave, I was in our bedroom packing the last of my things when Lisa came home. I quickly closed the suitcase and shoved it under the bed. "Hey," she said, not really looking at me. "I'm going out with Madison tonight. Don't wait up." "Sure," I replied. She was probably going to see Ryan, but I didn't care anymore. I was done. After she left, I finished packing and loaded everything into my car. Then I sat down and wrote 2 things, a note for Lisa and divorce papers that my lawyer had prepared. The note was simple. "Since I'm just your roommate, I figured I should make it official and move out. Thanks for the wake-up call. The divorce papers are self-explanatory. Have a nice life." I left both on her pillow where she'd be sure to see them. Then I walked out of that house for the last time. I'd love to say I felt sad or nostalgic, but honestly, I felt relieved. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. That night in my new apartment, I slept better than I had in years. Lisa didn't call until the next evening. When I saw her name on my phone, I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. "What the hell is this?" she said without preamble. "I think it's pretty self-explanatory." You left divorce papers on my pillow like some psycho." "I left them where you'd find them. Would you have preferred I email them to you? Oh wait, you might have confused them with messages from Ryan." Silence. "You went through my private emails?" "I was looking for insurance papers. Found a lot more than I was looking for." Another long pause. "Look, that's not what you think." "Really, what is it then?" "It's complicated." I actually laughed out loud. "No, Lisa, it's really not. You've been having an affair while treating me like a stranger in my own home. You told your friends I was basically just a roommate. You got your wish. You can't just leave like this. We need to talk." We had 6 years to talk. You spent the last 4 months talking to Ryan instead. I'm done. This is insane. You're throwing away our marriage over some stupid comment I made. I'm ending a marriage that you already ended months ago. I'm just making it official. She tried a different approach. Where am I supposed to get the money for the mortgage? The bills? You can't just abandon me. And there it was, not "I love you," not "I made a mistake," not "I want to work this out." Her first concern was money. "You'll figure it out. Roommates aren't responsible for each other's expenses." "You're being vindictive." "I'm being honest. For the first time in months, I'm being completely honest. I can explain everything if you just come home." "That's not my home anymore. And there's nothing to explain. I know exactly what's been going on." She started crying then, but it felt calculated. "Please don't do this. We can work through this." "Lisa, you told your friends you sometimes forget you're married. You told Ryan I was so clueless you could bring him home for dinner. You've been living a double life while I've been trying to save a marriage you checked out of months ago. I never meant, yes, you did. You meant every word. And you know what? You were right. We were just roommates. The difference is, I thought we were husband and wife. I hung up. She called back immediately. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was more of the same. Crying, pleading, promising to change. But there was no acknowledgement of what she'd actually done. No real apology. Just panic about the consequences. Over the next few days, she tried everything. Texts, calls, showing up at my work. She even got Madison to call me, trying to convince me I was overreacting. Lisa made a mistake, Madison said, but she loves you. She's devastated. Madison, she's been cheating on me for months while telling people I was basically just a roommate. If that's love, I don't want it. The Ryan thing wasn't serious. How do you know about Ryan? Silence. She told you about him? Look, it's complicated. No, it's not. She was having an affair, and you all knew about it. You were all in on the joke about her clueless roommate husband. Madison hung up. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Lisa. I can't afford the house. I have to sell it. I didn't respond. A month later, the divorce papers you filed, they're really harsh. You're not asking for alimony or splitting assets fairly. Actually, I was being more than fair. I was only asking for my car, my personal belongings, and half of our joint savings account. She could keep the house if she could afford it, all the furniture, everything else. But I wasn't going to subsidize her lifestyle anymore. 3 months later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She looked tired, older somehow. The confidence she'd had that night at Madison's party was gone. Hey, she said quietly. Lisa, how are you? Good, really good actually. She nodded, looking down at her coffee. I moved back in with my parents. I heard. I couldn't afford the house after. You know. Yeah. Things didn't work out with Ryan either. I wasn't surprised. Guys who go after married women usually aren't looking for anything serious. I'm sorry to hear that. She looked up at me then, and I saw something I hadn't seen in years. Vulnerability. I screwed up, she said simply. I threw away a good thing because I was bored and stupid and thought the grass was greener. Yeah, you did. Is there any chance? No. She nodded, tears starting to form. I know, I had to ask. Take care of yourself, Lisa. As I walked away, I felt something I hadn't expected. Pity, not regret, not sadness, just pity for someone who had everything and threw it away because she didn't recognize its value. 6 months after I moved out, I started dating again. Her name is Sarah, and she's everything Lisa wasn't. Present, engaged, emotionally available. When I tell her about my day, she actually listens. When she tells me about hers, I can tell she wants me to hear it. We're not roommates, we're partners. Last week, I got a wedding invitation in the mail. Madison was getting married. At the bottom, someone had written in pen, Lisa really hopes you'll come. She misses you. I threw it in the trash. I don't miss Lisa. I don't miss the woman who treated me like furniture while cheating on me with a coworker. I don't miss the woman who was so disconnected from our marriage that she forgot she was married. But I don't hate her either. She taught me something valuable. Never accept being treated like a roommate when you signed up to be a husband. Sometimes people show you exactly what they think of you. The key is believing them the first time. Lisa showed me I was just a convenient roommate who helped pay bills. So I did what any self-respecting roommate would do. I moved out. And you know what? Life is so much better when you're not trying to force someone to see your worth. Sarah sees it without me having to prove it. She values what I bring to the relationship instead of taking it for granted. That's the difference between a roommate arrangement and a real partnership. I should probably thank Lisa for teaching me that lesson. But I won't, because she's still probably telling people I overreacted. Some people never learn, but I did, and that's what matters. If this story resonated with you and made you think about the importance of being valued in your relationships, follow for more honest stories about love, respect, and knowing when to walk away. Because life's too short to be anyone's convenient roommate when you deserve to be their chosen partner.